On to question 2.2. If the sum of the term in brackets is equal to 20 and 1/6, determine the value of k. Before we do that, let's quickly summarize. The term is that part in brackets, so it's 1/3 p plus 1/6. P is nothing other than a variable, which means it's a placeholder, which means we can put a value in there and it'll change the value or the outcome of the equation in brackets. To the left, we have the sigma sign, which means it's the sum of that term. And what it's saying is the sum of this term is equal to 20 and 1/6. The bottom value, p is equal to 0, is the first term that will be substituted into that p. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, to eventually the last value or the last term will be what k is equal to. Whatever k is equal to, that'll go into p. So that last value is going to make the sum equal 20 and 1/6. So what we could do in essence is we could say the first term is 1/3p plus 1/6 all the way to 1. And instead of putting p there, we'll put k because it's this top value k that'll go in over here. That will equal 20 and 1/6. So how are we going to tackle this problem? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out what series we're working with. Are we working with a geometric, an arithmetic, a quadratic? Which series are we working with? The next thing is we have to determine how many terms are there, because it's the amount of terms that's going to make the equal to 20 and 1/6. So we have to determine how many terms are there. And then the third part is once we've figured out steps 1 and 2, we're going to use a formula to determine what k is. So let's determine what are we working with? Which series are we working with? Let's make square brackets. So it's 1/3 times that by 0 because p starts at 0 plus 1/6. Then we have 1/3 times that by 1 plus 1/6. 1/3 times that by 2 plus 1/6. And then just for fun, 1/3 times by 3 plus 1/6. And that all equals 20 and 1/6. See that this comes to 1/6, this comes to a half, this comes to 5/6, and this one comes to 7/6. So what makes this now difficult is that we've got this value of a half. So now the question is, how do we convert it to a 6? So it must have a denominator of a 6. And basically all we do is we times by 1. And actually what we're going to do is times by 3/3, and then that'll be 3/6. So we've got 1/6 there, we've got 5/6 there, and we've got 7/6. And then what you can see is term 1, term 2, term 3, and term 4. And what is arithmetic? Arithmetic is T2 minus T1, and then it'll be T3 minus T2, etc., etc. And the answer will come out to 2/6 or 1/3. So the difference is equal to 1/3. So we're working with an arithmetic series. Let's put it over here. We've got 1/6, 3/6, 5/6, and 7/6. So the difference is equal to 1/3. We also know that the first value, a, is equal to 1/6. We need to know the last value is. We're going to use the sum of an arithmetic series, n/2 plus the first value plus the last value. Okay, so we have to get the SN formula. 2n times that by the first value plus the last value. So remember right in the beginning I said the first term will be 1/3p plus 1/6, and it'll go all the way until the last term. Instead of putting p this time, we'll put k plus 1/6, and that'll equal 20 and 1/6. So the last term is whatever's in that bracket, which means now we can go over here and we can fill the last term is 1/3k plus 1/6. We determined the series, we determined the arithmetic series, and we determined which formula we're going to use. So step 2 now is to determine how many terms there are. To find out the number of terms, we take the top number, which is k. We minus it from the bottom number, which is 0, and then we add 1. And that equals k plus 1. N is equal to k plus 1. That's the number of terms. Okay, so now the formula we're going to be using is n/2 we're going to use the first value plus the last value. And we can substitute this in, so it'll be s. And what is n? It's k plus 1 equals k plus 1 over 2. What's the first value? It's 1 over 6. And we go plus. What's the last value? It is 1 over 3k plus 1/6. Okay, so let's work this out. Okay, so now what is the sum? The sum equals 20 and 1/6. And what does that equal? That'll equal k plus 1 over 2. Let's work this quickly out. 1/6 plus 1 over 3k plus 1/6. So I'm just going to move this up so we can get to see what we're doing. Okay, so 121 over 6. And that'll be k plus 1 over 2. This will be 1 over 3k plus 2 over 6. This will equal 1 over 6 equal to k plus 1 over 2. That'll equal 1/3 over k plus 1/3. That'll equal 121 over 6 equal to k plus 1 over 2. And that'll be k plus 1 over 3. We'll have 121 over 6 equal to k plus 1 over 2. Okay, and this is then times by k plus 1 over 3. So that times by that, so 121 is equal to k plus 1 squared, and 2 times 3 is 6. Multiply both sides by 6, and then they'll cancel out. And what we'll have is 121 equal to k plus 1 squared. Okay, so let's get rid of the square root, the square. How we do that? We square root 121. So it's plus minus the square root of 121, which is equal to k plus 1. And that means we have k plus 1 equal to plus minus 11. And what does that mean? That means k plus 1 is equal to 11, or k plus 1 equals minus 11. That means k is equal to 10, or k is equal to minus 12. But we know it can't equal a negative number. Therefore, k is equal to 10. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, please drop your question in the questions below. We'll read and respond as soon as possible. If you need more help with math, please click the link below that goes to my channel and go view what we have available there.